When the sun dropped below the horizon 100,000 years ago, something happened that is almost impossible for us to imagine today. Darkness became total. No streetlights, no phone screens, no distant glow of a city. Just black, all-consuming night, broken only by starlight and, if a group was lucky, the orange flicker of a fire. So did ancient humans fear the dark? The short answer is yes, almost certainly. But the more interesting question is why and what they actually did about it. This wasn't irrational anxiety. It was a rational response to a world full of real, nocturnal danger. To understand that fear, picture the environment itself. Early Homo sapiens and their relatives lived alongside predators that were far more active at night than during the day. Cave lions, dire wolves, and other big carnivores relied on darkness to hunt, using it to mask their approach on prey that couldn't see them coming. Human night vision, compared to these animals, is genuinely poor. We lack the reflective eye layer many predators have, and our color vision shuts down almost entirely in low light. In evolutionary terms, nightfall handed the advantage straight to the things that wanted to eat us. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups like the Hadza in Tanzania or various San communities in southern Africa, have found a strikingly consistent pattern. Nighttime is treated with far more caution than daytime, and folklore is often thick with cautionary tales about wandering after dark. Researchers believe this isn't superstition for its own sake. It functions as inherited survival knowledge, a cultural tool passed down to keep children and inexperienced adults close to safety after sunset, reinforcing lessons that predators and hazards are simply harder to detect and avoid once the light is gone. So, what did early humans actually do about it? The single biggest game changer was fire. Controlled use of fire likely began at least 1 million years ago, and by the time of early Homo sapiens, it was central to nightly survival. Fire didn't just provide warmth, it created a protective bubble of visibility and deterrence. Most large predators are naturally wary of flame, and a burning hearth meant a group could see approaching danger instead of being ambushed blindly. Archaeological sites show hearths positioned at cave mouths and shelter entrances, arranged specifically to guard the most vulnerable point of entry. Beyond fire, early humans relied heavily on shelter placement and group behavior. Caves with narrow, defensible entrances were prized real estate, precisely because they limited how a predator could get in. Sleeping arrangements weren't random either. Evidence and comparative studies suggest groups often kept someone semi-alert through the night. An informal rotating watch, much like sentry behavior seen in many social primates today. Being part of a group mattered enormously here. A lone individual at night was exceptionally vulnerable, but a cluster of bodies near a fire with at least one set of ears listening dramatically reduced the odds of a surprise attack. There's also a psychological layer worth exploring. Human fear of darkness may be partly hardwired rather than purely learned. Studies on infants and young children show a near-universal wariness of dark, unfamiliar spaces, even in kids raised in brightly lit modern homes with no exposure to real nocturnal predators. This suggests natural selection favored ancestors who felt uneasy in the dark because that unease translated into caution, and caution translated into staying alive long enough to reproduce. In other words, the mild dread you might still feel walking through a dark house today is a very old inheritance. That fear also shaped culture in more creative ways. Many researchers argue that nighttime gatherings around the fire became a critical social institution, a time for storytelling, myth-making, and passing on survival knowledge verbally. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner's studies of Juju Huanzi communities found that nighttime conversations shifted dramatically from practical daytime talk to stories, songs, and moral lessons. Darkness, paradoxically, may have helped drive the evolution of language, imagination, and social bonding precisely because people were stuck together, unable to work, and needed something to do besides worry about what was lurking beyond the firelight. So yes, ancient humans almost certainly feared the dark, and for excellent reasons rooted in genuine biological threat. But that fear wasn't a weakness. It was a driving force behind some of our most important innovations: the mastery of fire, the architecture of shelter, cooperative watchkeeping, and even the origins of shared storytelling. The dark didn't just threaten early humans, it helped shape who we became, pushing our ancestors toward the social cooperation and technological cleverness that eventually let a fairly fragile, night-blind primate outlast almost everything that once hunted it in the shadows.